I know the feeling. So it's almost 7. I'm going to give it another like 5 minutes in case anybody wants to trickle in. And it's totally not because I'm like running a little behind. It's on purpose. But yeah, the fact that you guys are here instead of at the masquerade makes me so happy. You love me.
This is my one panel I was looking forward to.
Really? Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. But I shall make it a good panel. So while we're getting started, I guess I'll just kind of introduce myself. My name is Cumberpunch Cosplay. I'm also known as the Wig Doctor. I've been doing cosplay since about 2004. That was the first time that I spray painted a witch's hat yellow and put on a blue robe, called myself Black Mage. After that, I just kind of became addicted to it. I didn't realize that I was, not bad at styling wigs until about 2012, but it was kind of a long road to get there. The first time I tried to style a wig, it was a $60 wig, and I melted it. Oh. Yeah, I was cosplaying Cammy from Street Fighter, and the wig got completely tangled, and in my head, I thought, oh, you know what would be a great idea? Let me just add a little bit of heat, and I'll be able to run the brush through like butter. I am so smart. Look, Mom, look, I am super smart. Where'd my wig go? It was all over the floor, all over my $200 hair straightener. It was a great way to start the week. So, I think we have enough to get started. I have my little box of tricks here. So, welcome to my How To Wig panel. We're pretty much just going to go over the basics, pretty much just, if you've never worn a wig before, or if you have and you're just kind of unsure about it, if you have a wig in a bag and you're afraid just looking at it is going to set it on fire, I'm here to kind of help you out a little bit. So, getting started. Why should you wear a wig? Not everybody's hair can be pink all the time. As much fun as it would be. Wigs, while they are thinner than human hair, are a lot easier to just style into one shape. But I think a lot of you guys know why you should wear a wig if you're here. So we're going to talk about really quick, what makes a wig good and what makes it bad. I do a lot of wig repair for people, especially like I was in the cosplay repair room today. I'll be there tomorrow. I do costume repair at a lot of different places, and I see wigs of all different qualities. The best way that you can tell if a wig is good, if you just turn it inside out, and I can toss this around for you guys to see. You guys are all hanging in the back, so I gotta be a little walking around. So this is an Arta wig. You can already kind of tell by looking at it, it's like really super thick. If you put it on and it moves or the wind blows, it's not going to show like your whole hair in the back. The other thing is that it's built to be adjustable. It has these little ear tabs back here. So these go like right around here. So it kind of helps you like center your wig. And then you have these little doodads right here. How many of you guys know what they do? Neither did I, and like for the first 6 years I used to cut them off. What these are for is these are to tighten the wig around your head. There are little loops right here where you can go and just stick it right into the loop and just adjust it to your size. And what that kind of helps with is, less bobby pins. You can make it tighter or looser depending on like how much of a headache you have that day. Because we all know cosplay is about endurance. How long can I keep this on my body before I want to throw myself out the window? So I'll go ahead and pass it around if you guys want to look at it. The other thing that you'll notice is that there are a lot of like these little tracks in there. Those are called wefts. And I did not have a chance to stop by Party City and kind of show you what a bad wig looks like. But pretty much, it's like a circle. And then the wefts in there are like a spiral, because that way they can cover as much of the wig as possible using as little hair as possible. So that's one of those wigs where, you know, if it kind of moves a little bit, everybody will get to see, you know, if you were wearing a wig cap or not. The other thing is you'll have like this really unnatural shine, and it just kind of looks like just the sun is just reflecting off of it like it's one of those bicycle mirrors. It's not, not pretty. There are ways, if you're on like a super budget, there are ways to kind of tone down the shine and make it workable, but you know, you really do get what you pay for. If you invest in a good wig, it'll last you for years. I have wigs that are at least like 10, 11 years old, and they look just the same as when I bought them. Well, I've styled them and sometimes cut them to, you know what, and back, but you get it. So pretty much where you want to find your wigs is there's a couple different places, and depending on your budget, you know, there are plenty of places. Now, I'm going to replace eBay with Amazon, because when I made this, eBay was the place to get your wigs. Now it's Amazon, so let's just pretend that's the Amazon logo right there. You guys look like you have really good imaginations. Art of Wigs is where I go because I'm a wig snob. If I crave high quality wigs, and their wigs, they have such a large variety, and they're made for people with larger heads. My head, a little on the large side, so when I had to order, you know, wigs off of eBay or from China, it was like this little Chinese torture device on my head. It just did not, it was a horror show. But Art of Wigs, they're super comfortable. This is an Art of Wig. That one over there is an Art of Wig. They're really great, but they're also a little expensive. Their least expensive wig is about $30. And then the gamut goes all the way up to about $100, depending on the kind of wig that you want. But there are so many different styles, different bases. So if you're kind of, you know, a beginner and you just kind of want to mess around with it, they have really good like kind of bases that you can start off and work your way from there. The downside with Arta is they tend to run out of stock really quickly, and they're still trying to work out, you know, the best ways to get things into stock, kind of try to anticipate which wigs are going out of stock. So sometimes you'll go in there and you'll be like, cool, I need a wig for 2 weeks from now, and it's been on back order for about 2 months. So that can be a little bit of a downside. But then there's Epic Cosplay. I love Epic Cosplay. They're actually here in the exhibit hall, and I didn't get a chance to say hi to them today. I'll do that tomorrow. But Epic Cosplay has some of the best long wigs you'll ever find. One of the main issues that come with, you know, long wigs is tangles. Epic Cosplay wigs are super easy to untangle. They're just really nice. They always look good. They're usually always in stock. Their shipping is like super quick. You know, you'll usually get it within like a week, week and a half. I love them. Now their downside is they don't really have too much of a variety. If you're looking for wigs to do like really heavy spiking jobs, you can do it with an Epic Cosplay wig. You just have to, I would say, be a little bit more comfortable with like the way that you style if you're doing like something crazy. Now Amazon, that is Amazon. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Amazon has its ups and downs. If you're on a budget, there's pretty much no place better. And if you need a wig like yesterday, Amazon can get it to you. The biggest issue I've seen with Amazon, just from wigs that people have brought in, is their quality is either like up here, down here, over here, you know, down in Glendale. It's just, you know, you can never really get like consistent quality because there's so many different sellers. So it's really kind of difficult. I've seen a couple gems on there, but it's really hard to kind of repeat that little miracle when I want one. But you know, if you're on that budget and you're willing to put in the work, you can make an Amazon wig work. So speaking of eBay, there's Taobao. Taobao is pretty much like Japanese eBay. You can't go to the website directly in order. You actually have to go through like a liaison to do it. And they have like cosplay wigs from Japan. And those are actually pretty neat. I've seen a couple wigs that are like really super thick and just kind of really nice. And, but you know, you have to go through like this whole rigmarole just to get it. So for me, it's Epic Cosplay, Art of Wigs. There's a couple other places that I didn't get a chance to put in here. One's called the Five Wits. They have a lot of really good base wigs that I would definitely check out. Thank you. So speaking of wigs, we're going to be talking about picking the right wig. So this hot mess right here decided I'm going to put on this Victor wig. Let's see how that goes. When you're looking for the right wig, you really have to kind of consider, like really look at the character's hair, and then consider how much you really want to put into making it look like the character. Now Victor, this gentleman here, has a couple of unique features. You'll notice that his hairline is exposed, and it comes right on up. He also has his part right over here. So depending on what you want to do, how you want it to look in the end, you could go with just like any old silver wig, or you could really kind of look at the description of the wig. Does it have a skin top where I need it to be? So what a skin top is, if you guys were looking at this wig, this is like a little skin top. This is like a little quarter skin top. So it goes kind of straight down the wig like a fountain. Now this is I believe it's a Lulu from Art of Wigs, and that skin top is actually made to look more like a scalp, and it was on the side that I needed. So I was able to kind of make it work. Ideally, for somebody like Victor, with the way that his hairline is exposed, you want what's called a lace front. There are two different kinds of wigs. There's the lace front wig and there's the hard front wig. All of these wigs I have here are lace fronts. And I did bring a lace front wig. So I go ahead and pass this around, but lace front wigs have hand-tied hair in the front. So it makes for a more realistic hairline. You can also alter the hairline using a technique called ventilation. Now, wig ventilation is a fun process, which pretty much means you take a latch hook and you sew hair one little piece at a time into the lace. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I have a Moira wig that I'm working on right now. It's in that bag, begging me to finish it, because that's what I do. I do wig commissions, and right now, Moira is the most, prominent because I hand sew her hairline into her wig. Now taking a look at Tracer, this is kind of what I'm talking about with the Epic Cosplay wig. This is a Chronos, and there's a lot of hair, and it's really thick. So you're able to kind of get away with with spiking it. And if my lovely, adorable friend had put on her wig correctly, instead of letting it like tilt to the side, you would have seen that it kind of rose to the occasion. But I love her to death, but she's kind of like my Labrador. She's really pretty, but there's not a whole lot going on these days. So there's a lot that you can do with the wigs once you kind of have the right techniques in mind. But with the right techniques, you're going to need the right tools. Now, before I really get into this, I'm going to tell you something right now. Do not let anybody pressure you into buying some tool or piece of equipment that you're not comfortable getting because they think it's the only way to make, to do something with it. I'm gonna pull it out now. Where are we? Case in point, I wanted to be taken more seriously as a wig stylist, and on a couple of Facebook groups, I was getting yelled at for only using styrofoam wig heads. These heads right here. I've been using them for, like 10 years. I'm comfortable with them. I like to have a little fun with them. It's, it's what I do. It's what I'm comfortable with. And it worked for me. But they told me, if you want to be taken seriously as a wig stylist, you need to get a canvas wig head. I hate this thing so much. I cannot measure proportions on this like I can do for that. This thing is heavy. This thing, I think, would probably end me if it had the chance. And it was really expensive. This was like $45. $45 is something that I hate because I thought this is what I needed. No, if you're happy with the way that your cosplay, your wig looks at the end of the day, then you've done it right. It doesn't matter what tools that you use to get there. So that's just my little PSA. So I do recommend having some kind of a wig head though, just because your brother, your cousin, your sister, your boyfriend's former roommate is not going to usually stand still long enough for you to do everything that you need to do. So just having some kind of a wig head. These are usually anywhere between like $7 to $8. I would just personally, remember this is my preference, so you don't have to take anything that I say as law. I just personally recommend the male wig heads because they're a little bit larger than the female wig heads. These are usually about like 21 inches. My head's 22.5 inches. I do like having a face on here, even though it's a little bit smaller. You kind of learn how to compensate as you go when you're doing like certain stylings. The other thing I'd recommend, if you're able to, is getting one of these things right here. This is a wig clamp. This is really good if you have like a long wig you need to brush, or if you just want to make sure your wig stays secure at the convention because you don't trust your roommates as far as you can throw them. The other thing, you don't really need one of these, but I'm a mobile person, and I just like to be able to sit down and style wherever because sometimes the TV is over here. So I want to take all my wig supplies and go watch TV and be disappointed by Darling in the Franxx, I have my priorities. But yeah, this thing's like really handy if you like standing, if you like, moving around. This thing's like about 20 bucks on eBay. Now this thing is just kind of optional. This is just, a mannequin head, it's plastic. It kind of looks a little less creepy than those, not by much, but this is what I usually use in my Etsy store when I'm displaying like my new wigs, because people were complaining about, Genji and Reyes looking like as creepy as they did. So, any kind of pins will pretty much do. Anything that can just keep the wig in place is fine. I do recommend the quilting pins though, because they have these lovely little yellow ends here to remind you that they're there. Because if you forget that they're there and you put the wig on, you're gonna have a bad time. Because blood is really hard to get out of the wig elastic, just saying. Brushes and combs. You could get like the really super expensive wig brushes. You could get, go to like the beauty supply and just run out all of your budget on everything. But honestly, like most of my combs come from like Walmart or the drugstore. I get my combs in like a variety pack because again, it's whatever you're comfortable with and whatever works. So for brushes, this is, if you guys want to see what a wig brush looks like, this is a metal one. It's been put through the ringer recently because a couple people really needed help. But what makes these a little bit easier than like your regular hair brushes is that they don't have like the little balls on the end. and those can actually like tangle the wig up a little bit more than, you know, than not. So this thing is actually like really super helpful. As far as combs though, anything like with a wide tooth comb is always good. When you're brushing a wig, you kind of want to treat it a little bit like if you were painting. And what I mean by that is when you go in and paint, you start with your biggest brush, and then you work your way down to your smallest brush to fill in the details. So this will help you get like the larger knots out, and then when you're, you know, ready to move on, you can get like a smaller tooth comb to start, you know, getting like those really tiny knots. Let's see what other brushes. So we'll go over what these do, but these are teasing brushes. These are the brushes that I use the most in a lot of my styling, and I'll explain why a little bit later. But you can get these in any like drugstore or whatever. They're really cheap. Now hairspray. Like every single other cosplayer on the planet, I use Got To Be glue. It's a Got To Be glue blasting freeze spray. This stuff is really good at its job, but I'm gonna tell you what I tell every single person that comes to me with a wig that's more hairspray than hair. Despite this thing being like, you know, little mist, hairspray still has weight to it. So the more that you pile on, the less it's going to be able to do its job. So usually the way that I approach hair that needs to be heavily styled is I try to make the hair do most of the work before I add the hairspray. I mean, there are times when you're going to need to like load on the hairspray, but you know, those are usually like few and far in between. I can speak words. Words are a thing I can do. Hair bands. Usually the kind of hair bands that I use are those little like clear elastic bands. They're like really super tiny. Normally what I use them for is like helping sectioning off hair when I'm spiking, or if I'm pulling a wig into a ponytail. Because the way that I do ponytails when I'm like feeling really lazy is I just start adding like more hair like into the ponytail, and the elastic bands help me do that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a more like advanced techniques panel. Otherwise, I would, you know, let you guys know about that one. But that's something that I can definitely show you guys afterwards if you're interested. Let's see, hair clips. All of my stuff is all over the place because I am so prepared. Here they are. So there's a couple different kind of clips that I like to use. When you're working with like a lot of hair, these alligator clips are amazing. These things just clamp on and they just won't let go. I've actually got a few on Moira right now, back here, because I was working kind of in the back to give her a nice little business cut, and this is going to be where all of her spikes are going to be laid out. So I just wanted to haul everything up, and these things have held it up like a champ. I got these actually off of Arda. They've been selling a lot of different accessories. So when I buy enough wigs to qualify for free shipping, which is a lot, because I'm a little out of control, guys, help me. I usually get like a couple of these because they like to wander off. Now the ones that you can get like at a drugstore, Walmart, whatever, are these little duckbill clips. And these are like really super standard. So if you need to like, you know, push some hair out of the way, these are really handy when you're detangling long wigs. So you can help like section them out, because the only way that you can really detangle wigs is dividing and conquering. So this is a really good little tool to have. Now wig clips I don't actually have. They are these little like toupee looking clips that go usually like right under here. You can clip them like directly into your hair and your wig cap. It really helps when you have like a heavier wig, like a ponytail wig. Any decent quality ponytail wig will have at least one of those wig clips or toupee clips up in here. to try to help. I'll talk about cosplay, safety and just in a little bit, but I don't always agree with the one wig clip like right in the middle of your hair. Scissors. Again, you do not have to go out and get those really fancy barber shears. You don't need to spend $50 on like nice scissors, because hair, wig hair, as pretty as it is, as much as it looks like real hair, is not. It's plastic. And these barber shears are not meant to cut plastic. They are going to dull, they are going to chip, they are going to break, and then you are going to cry. I know I did. Because again, I thought, oh, if I have industry tools, they'll take me super seriously. Why aren't these cutting anymore? I'm just here to make sure you guys don't make the same mistakes I do. It's been a long road. So these are, I actually got these over at Walmart. That way, when they finally dull and they don't work anymore and they've breathed their last breath, I can take them outside, old yellow them, and get some new ones. Now, the thinning scissors, those are what I use the most. And because I use them the most, there they are. What makes these really unique are these little prongs right here. If you're layering a wig, especially if you're new to layering, these are going to be your best friends. These really help just kind of getting everything like evened out, because I know sometimes when you're learning how to cut hair, you think, okay, I'm going to cut my hair, and it's going to look great. And you get like this blocky, nasty mess. I may or may not have done that a couple times when I first started. Now these things can help smooth things out, make everything look really nice. Let me grab my sacrificial wig and I can kind of show you how it works. There we go. Say hello to my sacrificial wig. This used to be my gender bent sore wig. Now it's the wig I drag along everywhere in case anybody wants to see whatever techniques I'm making face noises about. So the way that you would use thinning shears, and there we go. Thank you, sacrificial wig. So let's say you want to clean up an edge. So you've been cutting, oh dear. Nice flat mess. Yeah, that kind of, I'm sorry, sacrificial wig, that was mean. I should have warned you. Now when you're cutting with thinning shears, depending on what you want to do, you're going to cut into the hair. Cutting right across is just going to result in another blunt cut. So you go straight in and just make little tiny snips. You can kind of go a little bit of a 45-degree angle, just really getting in there, and that really just starts getting everything like nice and layered, and really just rounds it back out again. So now you can't even tell that you just, butchered your wig. Hair dryer, whatever hair dryer you can get your hands on. My hair dryer is old enough to vote, and it still works just fine. Hair straightener, same thing. Probably don't want to do like one of those ceramic ones. They're expensive, and I still have memories of melted hair. Wig cap. There we go. This is my favorite kind of a wig cap. Oh, who's ready to see my lovely, lovely locks? There we go. This is a netting. There are usually two different kinds of wig caps. You have these netting ones, and then you have like the nylon wig caps, which just a big nylon sock over your head. Either one is fine. I prefer, Matt, I love you dearly, but this ring is driving me insane. There we go. I'm not calling off the engagement.
Oh, thank God.
Nope, see, look, it's going right here. Look, see? where everybody can see it and remind me. Yeah, my engagement ring gets caught in that all the time, so. But it makes me think of him whenever I do, and sometimes I smile. So, this has a nifty little hole in here to really help get everything through and secure. Now, things I don't have on this list, because I haven't had a chance to update it, are a couple of detangling products. The first one is mane and tail. Now, you can pretty much use any silicone-based spray, and it'll do the job just fine. This just happened to be the first one that I found, and I thought it was just kind of funny to use horse detangler for my wigs. I'm sorry? What's it called? Oh, it's called mane and tail. You can find this at Walmart. Yeah. You can find this at Walmart, you can find this at beauty supply stores, because at some point they realized, hey, guess what? We can put this in our hair too and it doesn't fry it. Yeah, so there's that. And then this one is a little special. This is Garnier Fructis style. They call it glossing spray. It used to be anti-frizz. I usually use this when I'm straightening wigs with a hair straightener. It really kind of helps keep the frizz down, and it can actually help with detangling as well. Either one of these kind of helps as like a preventative. I'm going to tell you right now, even before we get into the whole like detangling segment, birds fly, fish swim, your long wig gonna tangle. It's just gonna happen. You can dampen the severity with one of these. Just give it like a little quick spray, and you're good to go. Putting on your wig. Oh, I get to put my wig back on. So this is the way that I usually do it. I'm a lazy, impatient person. This is gonna be one of those do as I say, not as I do. If you have longer hair like me, if you have like a wig that's like kind of short, really fitted, the best way that you could get your hair all up would be doing like little French braids and getting it all in there, or doing what's called pin curls, where you curl up your hair and grab a whole bunch of bobby pins. I don't have that kind of time. I don't have that kind of patience. So what I do, and what I used to do when I had hair down my butt, I take the wig cap, put it all the way down, wear it like a necklace, make sure that you're getting the actual net, not the band, otherwise it's not going to hold. Do your best impression of a rocker. Ladies there. Pull it right back over. Woo! I'm doing this a little blind, so forgive me. So that pretty much gathers all of your hair. Now something you kind of want to watch out for, because thick hair is going to do what thick hair is going to do, is it's all going to try to go down here. Usually you want to try to stuff it up a little forward. Like ideally, you want most of your hair right about here. Because at least in like the good quality wigs, you're going to have like the most room to have it right here without it looking like really super lumpy. Because if you just like put your hair in a ponytail, you're going to see this weird little lump back there, and somebody's going to wonder who hit you over the head with a baseball bat. So after that, you can do a couple things with this. You can use a bobby pin, you can tie a knot, tie it in a bow, however the rest of that song goes. There we go. So we got that. Now when you're putting on your wig, if it's one of the higher quality wigs, this is where the ear tabs come in. It makes for a great guide. Also, make sure this thing likes to come out of its little holes. So I am looking at where I want to put it. I have a little bit of a headache today. It's not because of you guys, it's just because, life, the universe, and everything. So I'm going to make it a little bit looser than I normally would, just like that. Once I'm pretty sure that's secured, I take the ear tabs I put my thumbs right on the ear tabs and I use my forefingers to keep this nice and wide. And then just carefully slip it on. Now this, if you have thick hair, this is when you're going to want to watch out for this, because if you just push it down like this, all of this hair is going to come right on down here and you're going to spend a good extra couple minutes tucking it up. So you kind of want to get it before it gets you. And I do not have a mirror. Normally you want to have a mirror because it kind of, you know, it can help a little bit. Just make sure you're not a hot mess of a cosplayer. There we go. And I know for a fact I'm lacking a little bit of hair here, so like every other cosplayer, you hide the defects. Nobody has to know about your exposed hairline. It's not exposed if they can't see it. There we go. So that's pretty much how you put on like a short wig. Long wigs, depending on a couple factors, you can just kind of flip it all the way down, put it on, flip it right back up, and then brush it out. So speaking of long wigs and everything else, we're going to talk about taking care of your wig, because the number one thing that I see at these, when people come in and they bring me things, are tangled messes. Kind of like that. That was my Rapunzel wig. Remember how I said do as I say, not as I do? Because I know that I can fix my wigs eventually, when I'm done with them, I tend to fling them into the corner of my bedroom and just forget they exist until about 3 hours before I need them. I keep telling myself, you know, maybe this convention, get your stuff ready like a week in advance. And then I just laugh and I go back to Overwatch and just, all right. So, detangling. I'm going to pull out a very special wig. I actually wore this earlier today, so I could kind of give you a couple of examples of the most common places long wigs tangle. So, long wigs, you're going to find the most tangle anywhere where it comes into contact with your body. And since most long wigs do not stick straight out like a little 2x4, that means it's going to go over your entire back. So pretty much you're going to find the most tangles and mats right here, where it's just rubbing up against your neck all day, and then just go right on down your back. You can see like up here it's not like so bad. I was driving and I made sure that it was kind of over my shoulder. So we're going to say goodbye to the sacrificial wig. Woo! And now I'm going to forget about it until the last second. And I'm going to show you really quickly just different ways to detangle your wig. Here we go. You raise me up so I can style on mountains. All right, we talked about this. You need to stay up on it. All right. Quick thing that I forgot. When you're securing a wig onto the wig head, there's pretty much, I like to work on a 3-point system. I put 1 at the top and 2 on the ear tabs. I do that every time, for the most part, so I don't forget where they are when I'm taking everything off. But for like more serious styling, sometimes I'll put them like down here in the back. So yeah, we'll just put everything where it should be. There you go. All right. So here she is. This is actually an epic cosplay wig, so I know that at the very least I'll be able to get some of this out. Now I always recommend finger combing it first, and how you usually finger comb it, you start from the bottom. And I like this stage. Okay, no kneeling for the wig doctor. All right. So you want to start with a section, because sometimes looking at like a big tangled mess can get really super overwhelming, and you decide it's not worth it, and all this fun stuff. So finger combing it means you just slowly divide the little section that you have. Searching for any kind of knots that you can find. And the name of the game with long wigs, and wig styling in general actually, is patience, which I think is really ironic because I'm not a patient person. And it sometimes shows because, again, I am because I know I can fix it later. I usually resort to more quicker methods. Let's see, where did I put my, there you are. If you're in a hurry and you have access to a hair straightener, this is good. So you can just mostly just work with this. But the big problem, if your wig is like super knotty, it's gonna start frizzing. Because when you run your brush through the wig and you encounter knots and you pull your brush through the knots, it's going to snap the wig fibers, and that's where all the frizz comes from. Now you can take care of the frizz with a, with a hair straightener, and that'll pretty much take care of it. But with a wig like this, it's already nice and curly. I don't want to lose the curls. So that's when the patience game comes back in, and you just kind of have to suck it up and put on a Disney movie and grab a snack while you do it. So yeah, you start with your fingers, and then once most of the tangles are out with your fingers, you take your widest tooth comb, run it through. Something that I learned a long time ago, and I honestly thought it was BS, was that you can actually knock knots loose with a comb without like touching it with this. Let's see. Let's see if I can find a good knot. Yeah, there's one. So what you do is you hold on to the comb like this, and you find the knot, and you just, and it comes like right apart. Or at the very least, it knocks it loose enough for you to be able to separate it out with your fingers. Again, that's something if you're a very patient person. I'm not. But yeah, work in small pieces at a time. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't be impatient like the Wig Doctor. Now washing, I'm not really sure why I put that on there. You really don't need to wash a wig as much as you think you do, because again, wig hair is not actual hair. It doesn't generate or build up oils. The only reason why you would really need to wash a wig is if there was hairspray all up in here and you were just tired of it and you just wanted like a fresh start, then go ahead and wash it. The other reason would be is if you've loaned your wig out to a friend for Anime Expo 2018 and they were outside all day and they gave it back to you and you found like a little puddle inside your wig cap and you're just like, yeah, no. Then that's a good idea because you're mostly going to be washing, the actual wig cap. Just put it in like lukewarm water. Any kind of like really gentle shampoo. Like I usually use like Johnson's baby shampoo because we're not getting out oils. We're just getting out like the gunk and just kind of cleaning up the wig cap. So after you're done, you do not want to brush a wig while wet. The reason being, because when I was trying it, I was realizing, wow, this is really hard. And it's making it worse. Storing, you can store, if you have a wig that's like not really like super styled, you can usually put it like back in its bag with like a little thing of, a dryer sheet, because that'll help with the static. If you have like a lot of wigs, like I tend to do from time to time, you can put them on the end of a shoe rack, just kind of hang them up. It's a really good way to make your friends and family super uncomfortable when they visit you. You can store it on your dad's head, So there are a couple other things that I want to mention, because this is kind of out of date, but, oh, here we go. I put these out of order. So we covered the basics of cutting. Here we go. You guys are gonna like this. This is let me see. Can I get this to play? How's it going? There we go. Now, like I said before, wigs are plastic. And like plastic, if you want them to move in a different way, if you want them to face a different direction, what do? You heat it up, and then you let it cool down in that shape. This is kind of the glory of heat-resistant wigs. This is a Genji wig that I was working on. And we don't need to do that. That's silly. I muted that, and it still went. So, but you know what? It's really immersive. You can really pretend you're in my room at 2 o'clock in the morning working on a commission that's due tomorrow. It's great. So, what I'm doing is I'm heating up the fiber because I need this Genji wig to slip back. Because his hair is a very slick back kind of a style before it's being spiked. And I could not find a wig that was already kind of styled like that in the color I wanted. So I used just a regular wig. And this is something that you can do with any heat-resistant wig. You can already see it starting to take shape, starting to flip back all on its own. Once you start getting comfortable doing this technique, the world just kind of opens up to you with like possibilities. This is, you can change like the parting on your wig. You can relax curls on your wig. So if you have like a wig that has really tight ringlets and you kind of want to, soften them up a bit, you can take a brush, take a hair dryer, just go, and there you go. Once the fibers are cool, as long as you hold them in that shape, that's the direction that they'll go. So if I wanted to do that with Merida, I called you, oh that's right, this is gonna be Merida wig, that's why. I could do the same thing with Merida. I could have it just blow like all the way back here. It also works really well for if you're doing like thin curls. All right. So teasing. Teasing is great. Teasing is how I live my life. Basically, what you're doing is you are building a rat's nest inside your wig, and then you are covering up the monstrosity with nice hair. Teasing is how I normally spike my wigs. Now, if you remember, I told you I like making the hair do most of the work before I add hairspray. And this is why. A lot of hairstyles, they kind of start defying gravity. But if you have a really good base with the teasing, you can really start to, get a little better. And I'm going to show you with sacrificial wig. So I didn't forget about you, sacrificial wig. So you're coming over here. All right. So this is also going to be our teasing and spiking tutorial. Go. Do you have any more pins in here? Yes, you do. You always have pins. Now this one I've teased before, so it's already a little predisposition to it. But even if it hasn't, it should still be fine. As far as like what kind of teasing brush you should use, there's like hard bristle, there's soft bristles. I just use whatever I happen to find at the time because my dog likes, likes going through my things. So what you do is you take a, fair amount of hair. You take your brush and you start either from the top or like down towards the middle, and you comb it down into the base of the wig. You want to get a nest, just rat's nest down here. And the result, yeah, I know, right? This is how I do most of my spiking, because like I said, the hairspray has weight to it, and now, here we go, let's move to here since that's what we're doing now. So now all we have to do, secure the tip, just the tip. There we go, let's have it go a little bit that way. It becomes really pliant, really easy. And if you want to cover up the monstrosity that you made, you can take a little extra hair and just slowly spike it over. Just add your hair. You have your core. Now you have your nice little outside. And you're good to go. It's like a little teardrop. I like that. The other way, it's not the only way that you can spike. You guys probably know the tried and true hold it up and spray and pray. So this one was actually kind of an experiment. Poor Roxas. This one was a little bit more of an experiment for me. I wanted to try and see if I could get smoother spikes versus what I'm doing here, because this has like a really interesting feel and texture to it. But I wanted to get like those super smooth spikes that I've seen on like those Japanese cosplayers, and just staring at them thinking, why can't I be you? So what I did is I took two, this is after cosplay. I took 2 after cosplay wigs, chopped one to bits, sewed it into the second one, and because I have all of this surplus of hair, I tried doing the, just with the hairspray. It was a lot, it wasn't impossible. You can see it's starting to like kind of take shape, but it's getting there. It's a little bit more work intensive for about the same result. If you're really worried about like how smooth your spikes are, something that I found that works out, excuse me, really well is if you take like a clothing steamer and you heat up the fibers outside of it, and then you just start brushing it a little bit until it gets smooth, and that can usually take care of it. Or you can blast it with the hair dryer, depending on like what you want to do with it. The other thing that you can do is if you have spikes that just should not exist, like this one. This is my very good friend who wanted to compete in the San Diego Comic-Con Masquerade. Asked if I could make her a wig. In her words, it should be really easy for you. You're just so good at spiking. I still have to go to therapy for this thing. I still wake up in cold sweat for this thing. And what is inside those wigs are wooden dowels. There are wooden dowels with little fabric onto them that has been sewn onto the wig. And here's a fun little horror story for you, because it doesn't matter how good you get at like cosplay or wig styling or anything, sometimes things are going to go wrong, and they're going to go wrong in a spectacular fashion. My friend decided that we were going to do a test run of our costumes, which I thought, great, because, better now than anything going up on stage, and I was super confident in my wig. It looked great. I was just so thrilled to finally get it like on her head. So we get it on her head, and as I was putting it on, praise the sun. The more that I adjusted it, the more it just fell out of mountain pose and just drooped. It was like, it looked like a propeller. And I just remember standing there and staring at it and just, I had to take a moment. It was not a good day, but I had a week. And sometimes, as much as you would like your spikes to stand on their own, sometimes they're going to need a little bit of help. That help came with invisible fishing wire and little tiny notches that holes that I drilled in. So everything was secured with invisible fishing wire, and she bounced across the stage, and the spikes stayed up.
So they fishing wire to each other?
Yeah. So pretty much there was like a little, like I drilled a little hole and I put like a little hook in each of them. And then I just tied the fishing wire and then I just tightened it up. And then they rose from the dead. Yeah, that, if I never see that wig again, it'll be too soon. So, let's see. Oh, one last thing about spiking. I need to update my supply list. I'm sure you guys know what like the got to be like glue is. Do not, awesome. Don't touch it. Stop. This is your wig on glue. Just, this can actually be saved. I'm actually going to be working on it tomorrow. So if anybody wants to come see how to get yourself out of this situation, come find me in the repair room. I will show you. Leave the glue alone. If you want to seal your spikes, use a very little drop of God's gift to stylists, Paddocks. This is flexible super glue. It's not available in the United States. You got to order it off of Amazon, and they'll ship it to you in about a week. This stuff, once it's in here, it's in here. This is a full-term lifetime commitment. We are talking a marriage, a joint bank account, a mortgage. You better be prepared when you use this stuff, but it ain't going anywhere.
It's called Paddocks.
What is it called?
It's called Paddocks, P-A-T-T-E-X. Sometimes it comes from Russia, sometimes it comes from Cuba. Today it came from Russia. All right, so we got about like 5-ish minutes, and you guys have any like questions, like any characters running through your head, like, oh, how do I do that? Feel free to ask me. Like, if there's anything I didn't clarify, please, I'm here for you guys. I'm here to make face noises for you.
So what was the name of your YouTube channel again?
Oh, that's right. So there's only one video on there, but I'm planning on putting here on, this on here, a couple tutorials, but it's Cumber Punch Cosplay. Yeah, that's a long story. Yes.
What do you recommend in terms of keeping on like extremely heavy wigs? Like especially ones that like maybe with giant ponytails that like hold the back and the whole thing.
Thank you for reminding me. That's a little bit of part of cosplay safety. This is why I don't like it when there's just one wig clip right here. One wig clip on a heavy wig is a one-way ticket to a massive headache. Because everything, the entire weight, is being pulled right here, and it's digging into your scalp. I don't know about you, that doesn't sound like fun. So the best thing that you can do is distribute the weight as much as possible with bobby pins. What I do when I have to wear like any kind of heavy like ponytail wig is when I pin, I start from the back and work my way up front. And what I mean by that is I take my imaginary bobby pin and I start inserting it back here. So when the wig starts pulling, it first starts pulling right here. And then I put a few more in the middle, probably about 3, one here, and one here. This is why I like my mesh wig cap, because the bobby pins just go right through it and it holds. And then you put some right at the front. By then the weight is distributed. It's not gonna alleviate the pain entirely, but it's gonna help, like maybe last a couple more hours and keep it from pulling and damaging your hair up here. Yes?
I've seen a ton of tutorials and it's never really worked. Do you have any suggestions on how to deal with like shiny Party City wigs?
Yeah. There's 2 ways that I usually do, and I'm sure you probably found the tutorials. One is the fabric softener technique, where you throw your wig into like a bucket of fabric softener and like 1 part water and keep it there for about 5 days. The other thing that you can do if you want like a temporary solution and you're willing to put the work in a little bit is baby powder. So just put baby powder right over the top and that should mitigate the shine a little bit. So yeah, any other questions? Anything? Yes.
What do you recommend with dealing with wigs that are too big? Like the person wearing it maybe is a lot smaller than you originally thought, and now you have too much material in the back.
So if for some reason you can't, it's still still too small after you put this into like the furthest thing, the best thing that you can do is cut into the wig in like a little triangle. So it's sort of like you're making a seam like you would with fabric, like a little dart. And then you sew that together until like it's secure on that person's head. Because I know there are a lot of kids and just bitty people out there who need like this.
Can I ask about the inverse problem where like I've got a gargantuan head and a lot of hair?
Yep. I actually ran into that the other day with a client who I mailed a wig to after it was done, and it was too small for his cabeza. Usually, there's a lot of stretch in like the higher quality wigs, so you don't have to worry about it as much. However, you know, just because it works for me doesn't mean it works for you. So what you can do is you can actually snip right about here. Don't snip this like I used to do. Snip it right down, right here.
Okay, so not the strap itself.
Yeah,
right?
that'll.
The strap?
Yeah, snip a little, not this strap, but this strap right here. This will give you about an inch.
Okay.
So let's see, anything else? I think it's about 8 o'clock, so we gotta go. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be outside. I'll be more than happy to like demonstrate anything outside, whatever you guys need to do. Thank you so much for coming. You guys are awesome. And look, let's go. See? It's going back on there. The engagement is still on that. Yay!